celebrate rain. It is so great to see it today. There's no greater testament to the importance of the work that we all do and the focus on the urban tree canopy than the conditions, the drought conditions, the fires we've seen in this last month. So I'm so pleased, and it is an honor really to stand with you today as New York City takes another crucial step in the fight against climate change and these conditions that we're now dealing with. This plan will enable us to not just to plant and care for trees, but to do so in a way that prioritizes equity and environmental justice, which this mayoral administration has championed for the last 3 years. We know, and Elijah talked about, trees provide shade, absorb excess storm water, and improve air quality. And they're especially important for keeping our cities safe from the dangers of extreme heat. As Executive Director Hutchinson referenced, the dangers of health effects from extreme heat remain as serious and as present as ever. And this remains a critical point of concern for this administration. But in addition to all of their environmental benefits, we also know that caring for our trees can bring New Yorkers together. Through tree planting events, tree care education courses, restoration walks, and so much more, New Yorkers are finding new ways to get involved and take a prominent role in the stewardship of our urban forests. Working towards this goal of 30% canopy coverage brings us all together as a city. And I'm proud to say that we've made a huge amount of progress recently in expanding our city's tree canopy. And so proud of the fact that nearly 18,000 trees were planted during the last fiscal year by the Parks Department. I think that deserves
Yay.
Our work has also shown that the care, maintenance, and preservation of existing trees is the fastest and most critical part of achieving consistent canopy growth, as 87% of new canopy in the city in recent years has come from the growth of existing trees. That's why we're laser focused as an agency on finding ways to grow and maintain our skilled forestry workforce. And in 2024, we took another huge step in that process by graduating the first ever cohort of climbers and pruners from our in-house training program. These new staff will be on the front lines of keeping our existing trees healthy and safe. We also know that achieving 30% canopy must be a team effort throughout New York City. And we're excited to work closely and lend our expertise to our partners from mayoral agencies, nonprofits, as well as private organizations. In addition to dedicated tree maintenance and record planting numbers, $136 million investment from the Adams administration will allow New York City Parks to plant a tree in every viable spot in the most heat-vulnerable neighborhoods by the close of 2027. I also want to take this opportunity to thank and give a huge shout out to the individuals who have made this possible. First of all, the great mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, our deputy mayor of operations, Vera Zoshi, executive director of the mayor's Office of Climate and Economic Justice, Elijah Hutchinson, and a longtime and critical partner of ours at the Parks Department, Heather Lubob, Executive Director of the City Parks Foundation. I also want to give a big shout out to our partners at the Nature Conservancy and the Forest for All NYC Coalition. Thank you. I also want to echo Elijah's thanks to to the Helmsley Charitable Trust, which provided critical funding to our partners at the City Parks Foundation and the Natural Areas Conservancy, allowing them to strengthen their efforts in stewardship and in community engagement. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the tremendous staff from our New York City Parks Environment and Planning Division. Under the leadership of Deputy Commissioner Jennifer Greenfeld, their tireless efforts have been critical in achieving record tree planting year after year in this mayoral administration. Because we know that trees are a critical part of our city's living infrastructure. And it's increasingly clear that our green spaces are not luxuries. They're important public resources which can solve so many of the issues that face our city today. But this means we need New Yorkers to work with us, and we implore everyone to volunteer at one of our many stewardship events available in every borough. So once more, I want to say thank you to everyone here today for coming out, for being in the rain, for celebrating with us, and for taking action and being part of this exciting new plan. Thank you so much, and thank goodness for the rain. Enjoy the Bronx.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Donahue. There was two important points that the Commissioner made that we wanted to amplify. It is indeed raining.
Good you got up.
One is the point that New York City Parks, under her leadership, committed in Plan YC to plant in all viable locations in heat vulnerable areas by the end of 2027. That is a remarkable commitment. Second, I wanted to elevate what the Commissioner said about environmental justice and how important it is to address those issues. And that leads me to our next speaker. It's a true partnership. This plan is a true partnership with all organizations, an all hands on deck approach, both those who have technical expertise and those that have expertise in community organizing, environmental justice, in the appropriate local context. And to that end, it is my privilege to present as our next speaker, Matthew Shore, Senior Organizer at South Bronx Unite.
Thank you. All right, so I know we're a little cold and huddled up here at St. Mary's Park, one of the best parks in the Bronx, am I right? So let's warm up a little bit. I'm gonna do a couple different chants, all right? When I say public land, you say for public good. Public land.
For public good.
Public land.
Public good.
Public land.
Public good.
Here's another one. Whose trees?
Our trees.
Whose trees?
Our trees.
A little louder, we're in the South Bronx. Whose trees?
Our trees.
That's right. So, my name is Matthew. I'm a senior community organizer with South Bronx Unite, and I'm also from the Bronx. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So South Bronx Unite for years, more than 10 years now, has been advocating for environmental justice right here in Mott Haven, right here in the South Bronx, also Port Morris. We've been fighting for clean air. We've been fighting for green space equity. We've been fighting for, against the extreme heat issue that has been talked about today, that is so prevalent here in the South Bronx. We've been fighting for right to self-determination, basically. And I'm so proud of this community because despite being the most economically oppressed, despite dealing with the highest rates of asthma in the nation, this community continues time and time again to stand up against these systemic injustices. I have a one-pager here today, which I'm happy to share out with this group. It's in English and Spanish, and it's a tale of two boroughs, basically, here in the Bronx. It's a tale of, it's basically a comparison between Mott Haven and Riverdale.
Great meeting.
And shout out to our friends New Yorkers from Parks for their excellent analysis, which informed this one pager that I have here today. And what it says is that in Riverdale, they have the highest amount of tree canopy. we have one of the lowest. Out of all 59 community districts citywide, we have one of the lowest. Riverdale also ranks towards the top 10 for available park spaces. We rank towards the bottom. And how does that affect our health? Because this is all tied to health, right?